I stepped off the train and the platform was empty. The summer air was heavy. The luggage in my hands suddenly absurdly heavy. No laughter, no welcoming hugs, just the echo of my shoes on concrete. Confused, I pulled out my phone. A message from my mother. This trip is for real family only. A follow-up from my sister. Take care of my kids and dog. Bye. I closed the phone, heart sinking, but mind clearing. I booked another ticket, away from them, away from this suffocating illusion of family. But I didn't leave in anger. I left calculating. I had to watch them realize what they'd done. Weeks earlier, this would have crushed me. They'd always been my anchor, or so I thought. Mother smiling, father stern but proud, sister teasing. Every childhood memory painted with warm strokes of inclusion. The trip had been a tradition, the 1 week of the year I felt untouchable in their world. Until that week. I noticed the first cracks months ago. A glance too sharp from my mother. A whispered conversation ending abruptly when I entered a room. My sister laughing too hard at jokes she didn't share with me. I chalked it up to imagination, insecurity. But then came the messages, hidden on their devices, the late-night confirmations from neighbors, friends, and even distant relatives. They had decided I wasn't welcome anymore. Shock hit first, then anger. But I didn't scream, I didn't confront. I watched. I cataloged. Every slight, every word, every exclusion. I learned their schedules, their weaknesses, the little betrayals that now formed a web I could navigate. Revenge, I realized, isn't a moment, it's a process, a craft. I started small, anonymous tips, exposing their lies to the community. Little financial nudges that showed cracks in their stability. Social faux pas that embarrassed them quietly. My sister was the first to falter. Her kids returned to me with stories of tantrums, phone calls she ignored, appointments she missed. I listened, nodded, and never betrayed the trust she thought I lacked. Every misstep she made was noted, cataloged. Then I escalated. Legal avenues, subtle but firm, designed to remind them that exclusion has consequences. I didn't make noise. I didn't ask for acknowledgement. I let the process be invisible but devastating. One by one, the walls they had built around themselves began to crumble. And then, finally, the trip, the one they had planned without me. I arrived not with anger, but with a quiet confidence. The house was immaculate, the smell of fresh paint, the lawn trimmed, but the absence was deafening. Their absence, my absence. When they returned from a day out, expecting to return to the illusion of perfection, they found me waiting, calm, smiling, holding documents, reminders of everything they had tried to hide. What are you doing here? My mother stammered, her voice brittle. I'm here, I said, slow, deliberate, because the real family doesn't hide from accountability. My sister paled first. Her hands shook as she tried to snatch the mail I had left on the counter, a subtle collection of evidence and notifications, proof of mismanagement, negligence, and their cruel games. I trusted you, my father said, voice tight. We never meant to. Never meant to? I echoed, stepping closer. You wrote me out. You laughed at my absence. You made me a caretaker for your responsibilities while you enjoyed your exclusion. Intent doesn't erase choice. Their faces drained, one by one, the color of guilt and fear mixing into something I recognized instantly. Realization. The illusion of control had been shattered. I didn't yell. I didn't need to. My presence, and the quiet devastation of months of strategic maneuvering, spoke louder than any argument. I watched as they absorbed the weight of the consequences I had orchestrated with surgical precision. They had excluded me, believing absence would weaken me. Instead, it honed me. Every slight, every whispered judgment, every manipulation, they had fed a plan I had nurtured patiently, silently, ruthlessly. As I stood in the living room, watching the panic set in, I felt no triumph in their misery, only release, freedom, the clarity that comes from knowing you've taken control of a situation others assumed they controlled. I picked up my bag. "I have a flight," I said simply, as if to underline the irony. The trip they had meant to enjoy in my absence would now feel incomplete, haunted by the presence they had refused to recognize. I walked out, the sunlight warm on my back, and for the first time in years, the word family felt mine again, not as they defined it, but as I chose it. They had tried to erase me. Instead, I became the consequence they never anticipated, and in that silence, I smiled.